Hello and welcome to this final first look exploring session, looking at the humours of the patient man and the longing wife, or the converted courtesan, or quite a lot of names really. Most people call it The Honest Whore Part 1, by Thomas Dekker with some Thomas Middleton as well. I'd love to say we've been having fun. But this one's been hard work, and there are lots of problems with it, and lots of issues, which we will endeavour to unpack as we go on. We're going from scene 13, depending on the version you're looking at. It might be less than that, it might be closer to scene 11 in some versions, I think, because some of the scenes are elided in different versions, otherwise known as Act 4, Scene 4. So, take your pick. Start wherever you like. To continue our journey through the play from scene 13 in our script, reading the Duke, who we haven't seen for a while, and Infelice is...
Hi, I'm Greg, and yet I don't think I'll be a very patient man by the end of this.
Reading the Doctor and Castruchio is...
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm snacking on nuts, apple. No, wait, that's not an apple. Anyway, yeah, hi.
Snacking away. Reading George, Hippolito, and First and Second Madman is...
Arnold in the English Midlands.
Reading Candido, Fluello, and Sinezi is...
Helen in Suffolk.
Reading Pioratto and Anselmo is...
Aliki in Athens.
Reading Matheo is...
Hello, I'm Samantha in Surrey, England.
And reading Viola, Sweeper, Third Madman, and Bellafront is...
Sarah Blake in The Hague.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading stage directions, and if there's a servant turns up, I'll probably read them. Scene 13, without further ado, enter the Duke, Dr. Benedict. Maybe we should just call him Ben. Fluello, Castruchio, and Pioratto.
Give us a little leave.
Exit Fluello, Castruchio, and Pioratto, who presumably entered for equity reasons.
Doctor, your news.
I sent for him, my lord. At last he came and did receive all speech that went from me, as gilded pills made to prolong his health. My credit with him wrought it, for some men swallow even empty hooks like fools that fear no drowning where it is deepest. 'Cause 'tis clear, in the end we sat and eat. A health I drank to Infelice's sweet departed soul. This train I knew would take.
Was excellent.
He fell with such devotion on his knees to pledge the fame
Fond superstitious fool.
that he had been inflamed with zeal of prayer. He could not pour it out with more reverence. About my neck he hung, wept on my cheek, kissed it, and swore he would adore my lips because they brought forth Infelice's name.
Oh, alack, alack.
The cup he lifts high, and thus he said, "Here, noble maid, drinks," and was poisoned.
And died?
And died, my lord.
Oh, thou in that word hast pierced mine aged hours out with more years than thou hast taken from Hippolito. A noble youth he was. But lesser branches hindering the greater's growth must be lopped off and feed the fire. Doctor, we're now all thine, and use us so, be bold.
Thanks, gracious lord, my honored lord. I do beseech your grace to bury deep this bloody act of mine.
Nay, nay, for that, doctor, look you to it. Me it shall not move. Their curse that ill doeth, not that ill do love.
You throw an angry forehead on my face, but be you pleased backward thus far to look, that for your good this evil I've undertaken.
Aye, we consta so.
And only for your love.
Confessed, 'tis true.
Nor let it stand against me as a bar to thrust me from your presence, nor believe, as princes have quick thoughts, that now my finger, being dipped in blood, I will not spare the hand, but that for gold. As what can gold not do? I may be hired to work the like on you.
Which to prevent?
'Tis far, from my heart 'tis far.
No matter, doctor, 'cause our fearless sleep, that you shall stand clear of that suspicion. I banish thee for ever from my court. This principle is old, but true as fate. Kings may love treason, but the traitor hate.
And exit the Duke.
Is it so? Nay, then, Duke, you're still principal with one ass still. The doctor thus shall quit. He falls himself that digs another's pit.
Enter the doctor's servant.
How now? Where is he? Will he meet me?
Meet you, sir. He might have met with 3 fencers at this time and have received less hurt than by meeting one doctor of physic. Why, sir, he has walked under the old abbey wall yonder this hour till he's more cold than a citizen's country house in January. You may smell him behind, sir. You want yonder he comes.
Leave me.
In the lurch, if you will. Exit servant. Enter Hippolito.
Oh, my most noble friend.
Few but yourself could have enticed me thus to trust the air with my closed sighs. You sent for me. What news?
Come, you must doff this black, dye that pale cheek into his own colour. Go, attire yourself fresh as a bridegroom when he meets his bride. The Duke has done much treason to thy love. 'Tis now revealed, 'tis now to be revenged. Be merry, honoured friend, thy lady lives.
What lady?
Infelice, she's revived. I think this next bit is... Okay, revived. Alack, death never had the heart to take breath from her.
I thank you, sir. Physic prolongs life and it cannot save. This helps not my hopes. Mine are in their grave. You do some wrong to mock me.
By that love which I have ever borne you, what I speak is true. The maiden lives. That funeral, Duke's tears, the mourning, was all counterfeit. A sleepy draught cozened the world anew. I was his minister and then chambered up to stop discovery.
Oh, treacherous Duke. Treacherous Duke.
He cannot hope so certainly for bliss as he believes that I have poisoned you. He wooed me to it. I yielded and confirmed him in his most bloody thoughts.
Very devil.
Her did he closely coach to Bergamo, and thither
will I ride. Stood Bergamo in the Low Countries of black hell, I'll to her.
You shall to her, but not to Bergamo. How passion makes you fly beyond yourself. Much of that weary journey I have cut off, for she by letters hath intelligence of your supposed death, her own interment, and all those plots which that false duke her father has wrought against you. And she'll meet you...
When?
Nay, see, how covetous are your desires. Early tomorrow morn.
Oh, where, good father?
At Bethlehem Monastery. Are you pleased now?
At Bethlehem Monastery, the place well fits. It is the school where those that lose their wits practice again to get them. I'm sick of that disease. All love is lunatic.
We'll steal away this night in some disguise. Father Anselmo, a most reverend friar, expects our coming, for whom will lay reasons so strong that he shall yield in bands of holy wedlock to tie both your hands.
This is such happiness that to believe it, 'tis impossible.
Let all your joys then die in misbelief. I will reveal no more.
Oh, yes, good father. I am so well acquainted with despair, I know not how to hope. I believe all.
Well, hence this night. Much must be done, much said, but if the doctor fail not in his charms, your lady shall ere morning fill these arms.
Heavenly physician, for thy fame shall spread that makes two lovers speak when they be dead.
And they exeunt. And how I'd be rooting for Hippolito if he wasn't such a git. Because, it's like, all of these plot points are really sort of expected. We've been expecting these from about scene 3. So, and in many ways we're in a sort of relatively comfortable high melodrama mode here. It's not a tragic mode. It's not even a tragic-comic mode. It does feel like this is melodrama hour. And I'm, in isolation, I'm perfectly happy with it. I love the fact that you have the pointless characters, the team of 3 who just wander on. And why are you here? To leave. Lovely, excellent. You've made me look big. Thank you for reminding the audience that I'm important. Please leave. Which is perfectly legitimate tactic when you've got 3 actors who presumably don't really need to do anything for the rest of the play. Keeps them busy. Hit some sort of quota. So yeah, as we all know, the Milanese Bedlam Hospital is, of course, renowned around the world for a thing. Thoughts from the room on this?
Not much to add.
I mean, you do wonder whether the doctor would have not told Hippolito anything if the Duke hadn't exiled him, or perhaps would have poisoned him after all. It was sort of, now you dig your own grave by being cruel to me, but obviously not. That plot has been chugging along on its predictable course, as you say, for a while.
Yeah, because it's like the Doctor's seen early modern drama. He knows that he's probably going to get betrayed, and this is where this is going. It's insurance. He put out insurance. Greg, and then Eric.
I find this play really odd because sometimes it's so funny, and sometimes it's definitely turning into a tragedy. I know there are dramas of that type in this period, but it just feels like such a diverse play to me. It's really interesting. I don't think I've read anything with you guys, at least not for a very long time, that's been quite this disparate in its style.
Well, this is the thing, is, again, we're returning to that question we had in the first scene when I was asking, what mode of performance is this? Are we supposed to be taking Hippolito and this plotline seriously, or are they doing a mashup that they're spoofing this kind of plotline? It's just in terms of the tone of comedy, if we're saying this is a spoof, which is fine, but in terms of the tone of comedy and the kind of comedy they're delivering, it's a very different kind of comedy to the Draper plot. It's not the same mode, even if we're treating it as comedy, which I think we should probably be doing. And then, of course, we get into the old morality plot thing that, of course, we don't really think is very moral anymore. As a sort of weird problem. So yeah, tonally, it's all over the shop, isn't it? But hey, they're gonna go to see Father Anselmo, so I'm sure that'll tidy up some. There's nothing like a Deus Ex Friar to sort, Friar Ex Machina. That's the one. Eric, then Donald.
I love how I wasn't alone in sort of hoping that he had been poisoned. Just because, and also what I don't get is why. I mean, clearly the Doctor thinks the relationship with Infelice is mutual, because he's arranged for this, and he's told her everything, as opposed to sort of going, "Yeah, she's not for you, mate."
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean,
know. Yeah,
everything we know about Infelice suggests she thinks it is too.
Yeah, she's quite sad about the idea that Hippolito is dead, which is what initially she's been told.
It's only us cynics sitting over here going, that's why she's Infelice, because she's going to end up married to that misogynist creep who never shuts up.
Yeah. And say, in a different play, this scene functions fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Though I have to say, the dynamics of any court, the thing about courts, especially early modern courts, even a duke, is there are a lot of people in it. So the Duke's literally walked off stage for 2 seconds, and then Hippolito just sort of saunters in and goes, has no one noticed Hippolito's not dead? Is no one going to tell the Duke this? It's like, it's stage management from the Doctor here is really poor, because, this is a wafer thin conceit that, any court would destroy and demolish in a second.
Didn't meet him on the stairs.
Yeah. You almost want him to go, sorry, bump into each other on the way in. Sorry, Donald.
Hippolito's reaction when he hears the news is interesting at the beginning, isn't it? But what lady? And he's not exactly full of the really buggered up his plans, and then he seems to sort of at least appear to be more enthusiastic as the scene goes on. But he doesn't exactly fall down in faint of wonderfulness at the beginning, does he? I get the feeling he has moved on.
I quite like the doctors sort of doing a Columbo as well. Just thank you, doctor. You're all mine. And the doctor says thank you. Oh, just one more thing. You're not going to punish me for doing this, are you? Yeah, actually. You shouldn't ask the question. He might have got away with it. Eric.
I think the conclusion that we're drawing from all of this is basically, if you're a duke or you're a higher member of society in any kind of society, just do your own poisoning, do your own dirty work, because it's going to come back and bite you. Though I don't know. I think maybe in the Revenger's tragedy it does come back and bite him, but that's different.
Yeah, I mean, as ever, it's this question of what do you do with your outsourced murdering? Well, it's a perennial problem, and the fact that they explicitly talk about this as the problem that you have is just sort of part of the game really, and part of the potential spoofery. Anyway, let us move on. From a very slight scene, let us go into something perhaps with a bit more detail and a bit more going on. Scene 14, otherwise known as Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Viola with a petition and George.
Oh, watch, good George. Watch which way the Duke comes.
Here comes one of the butterflies. Ask him.
Enter Pioratto.
Pray, sir, comes the Duke this way?
He's upon coming, mistress.
Ah, thank you, sir.
Exit Pioratto.
George, are there many mad folks where thy master lies?
Oh, yes, of all countries, son, but especially mad Greeks. They swarm, quoth mistress. The world is altered with you, but not wont to stand us, paper humbly complaining. You're well enough served. Provender pricked you as it does many of our city-wide sides.
Dost think, George, we shall get him forth?
Truly, mistress, cannot tell. I think you'll hardly get him forth. Why, 'tis strange. It's foot. I've known many women that have had mad rascals to their husbands, whom they would belabour by all means possible to keep them in their right wits. But of a woman to long to turn a tame man into a madman, why, the devil himself was never used so by his dam.
How does he talk, George? Huh? Oh, good George, tell me.
You're best to go see.
Alas, I'm afraid.
Afraid? You had more need be ashamed. He may rather be afraid of you.
But George, she's not stark mad, is he? He does not rave. He is not horn mad, George, is he?
Nay, I know not that, but he talks like a justice of peace, 1,000 matters, and to no purpose.
Well, to the monastery. I shall be mad till I enjoy him. I shall be sick until I see him. Yet when I do see him, I shall weep out mine eyes.
I'd fain see a woman weep out her eyes. That's as true as to say a man's cloak burns when it hangs in the water. I know you're weak, mistress. What says the painted cloth? Trust not a woman when she cries, for she'll pump water from her eyes with a wet finger and a faster showers in April when he rains down flowers.
Aye, but George, that painted cloth is worthy to be hanged up for lying. All women have not tears at will, unless they have good cause.
Aye, but mistress, how easily will they find a cause? And as one of our cheese trenchers says very learnedly, as out of wormwood bees suck honey, as from poor clients lawyers firk money. As parsley from a roasted coney, so though the day be ne'er so funny, if wives will have it rain, down then it drives. The calmest husbands make the stormiest wives.
Oh, true, George, but I have done storming now.
Oh, that's well done, good mistress. Throw aside this fashion of your humour. Be not so fantastical in wearing it. Storm no more, long no more. This longing has made you come short of many a good thing that you might have had from my master. Here comes the Duke.
And indeed, enter the Duke with the hangers-on, or some of them, Fluello, Pioratto, and Sinezi.
Oh, I beseech you, pardon my offence, in that I durst abuse your grace's warrant. Deliver forth my husband, good my lord.
Who is her husband?
Oh, my lord.
Where is he?
He's among the lunatics. He was a man made up without a gall. Nothing could move him. Nothing could convert his meek blood to a fury. Yet, like a monster, I often beat at the most constant rock of his unshaken patience and did long to vex him.
Did you so?
And for that purpose had warrant from your grace to carry him to Bethlehem Monastery, whence they will not free him without your grace's hand that sent him in.
You have long fare. 'Tis you are mad, I fear. It's fit to fetch him thence and keep you there. If he be mad, why would you have him forth?
Oh, please, your grace, he's not stark mad, but only talks like a young gentleman, somewhat fantastically. That's all. There's 1,000 about your court, city, and country madder than he.
Provide a warrant. You shall have our hand.
Here's a warrant ready drawn, my lord.
Get pen and ink. Get pen and ink.
Exit George. Enter Castruchio.
Where is my lord the Duke?
How now? More madman?
I have strange news, my lord.
Of what? Of whom?
Of Infelice and a marriage.
Ha! Where? With whom?
Hippolito.
Enter George with pen and ink.
Here, my lord.
Hence with that woman. Void the room.
Wait, the Duke's vexed.
Well, come, mistress, the Duke's mad too.
Exeunt Viola and George.
Who told me that Hippolito is dead?
He that can make any man dead, the doctor. But my lord, he's as full of life as wildfire and as quick. Hippolito the doctor and one more rid hence this evening, that the inn at which they alight is Bethlehem Monastery. Infelice comes from Bergamo and meets them there. Hippolito is mad, for he means this day to be married. The afternoon is the hour, and Friar Anselmo is the knitter.
Garmo, is it possible? It cannot be, it cannot be.
I will not swear, my lord, but this intelligence I took from one whose brains work in the plot.
What? He?
Matheo.
Theo knows all.
He's in Hippolito's bosom.
How far stands Bethlehem hence?
6 or 7
6 or
miles.
7 miles.
Is it so? Not married till the afternoon? Stay. To work out some prevention. How? This is most strange. Can none but madmen serve to dress their wedding dinner? All of you get presently to horse, disguise yourselves like country gentlemen or riding citizens also, and take each man a several path. But let us meet at Bethlehem Monastery. Some space of time being spent between the arrival of each other, and if we come to see the lunatics, to horse away. Be secret on your lives. Love must be punishment. Punished that unjustly thrive.
Exeunt everyone except for Fluello.
Be secret on your lies. Castruchio, you're but a scurvy spaniel. Honest lord, good lady. Zounds, their love is just. It's good. I'll prevent you, though I swim in blood.
Exit Fluello. Okay, I'm enjoying this. It's been a while since I've enjoyed this play, but I actually have generally enjoyed this because it's all melodrama and plus some actually nice bits of comedy. I love the fact that George is coming on with the stuff, and it's it's like Aliki.
Yeah, I suggested in the chat one way to get around the worst of this play is to make it all about George. So all of the scenes in which George fetches things and is sent to do things and exits and enters, so on, kind of work, especially if you pare down everything except the bits involving George.
The play, I mean, it's the play for all the servants bits, isn't it? They're all really good servants. I really like them. Absolutely no. I mean, it's just I love this. They're going, oh please, we've got to get our husband out of the asylum because of course and this is a very true thing. Once you're into, it's true today, just as true today as it was then. Once you're in an asylum, it's very difficult to get out again. As various the Thud experiment showed very, very clearly in the 20th century, where a group of I think student psychiatrists decided that they test the proposition that there are massive problems with the health system when it came to mental health, and so they all went into various asylums around, I think it was the US, saying that it all felt perfectly fine, but they kept hearing the sound thud or thump every so often. Unfortunately, once they were in, they couldn't figure out a way of getting out again. Because they told them, no, we're just students, we're perfectly fine, and nobody believed them. And the only way they could get out was to tell them that okay, no, they weren't lying, but they now think they're getting a little bit better. It caused all sorts of ruckuses and problems. But it's a very genuine problem that, for all this thing of trying to vex her husband, once you're in that system, actually it's really difficult to get him out again. They need to go to the Duke, and the Duke, they're about to sign the thing, and then I've got some news. And he's just, no! And it's so yeah, I think there's a lot of redundancy in the scene. I think there was some stuff that really could go, but generally I'm more with this. Sorry, I don't know why I went off on that one. There's more to that story as well. It's a very interesting psychological experiment. Anyway, Alan.
I'm just wondering whether it's a continuity issue, because I thought that George and the Prentices had decided to follow Candido when he was taken into the asylum.
It may be a continuity issue. It may be more that they just accompanied him as he went. They didn't literally go into the asylum with him, just make sure everything was all right, keeping an eye on. But it could be that this scene or the other scene were written by a different playwright, and there's a minor detail that didn't get ironed out. Sarah.
I mean, George does state quite clearly that he's seen him. So he's obviously been and come back.
Yeah.
He's not actually in there with him. He's sort of gone to see him and, come back again.
Yeah, I think they all just went as a mass, and possibly were, finding the whole thing terribly amusing until it then stopped being amusing, because it was like, oh no, it's fine, he's not mad. And then he stuck. And luckily, of course, everybody's going to the monastery, so it's fine. We're all off to the monastery, Bethlehem Monastery, so that's fine. Eric.
I just like the line, he's among the lunatics, is just a lovely line. I don't know why. I just sort of like, where is my husband? He's among the lunatics. It just sounds very dramatic.
Any other thoughts? Otherwise, we'll move into scene 15. An interesting detail in this scene, of course, were the question of who told us who can tell us more information about what's going on. Matheo, of course. So he's been drawn into this element of the plot. So we're starting to feel the plots are starting to intersect in various interesting ways. So mostly separate threads until this half of the play. Scene 15, or Act 5, Scene 2. Enter Friar Anselmo, Hippolito, Matheo, and Infelice.
Nay, resolve, good father, or deny.
You press me to an act both full of danger and full of happiness, for I behold your father's frowns, his threats, nay, perhaps death to him that dare do this. Yet, noble lord, such comfortable beams break through these clouds by this blessed marriage, that your honoured word being pawned in my defence, I will tie fast the holy wedding knot.
Tush, fear not the Duke.
O son, wisely to fear is to be free from fear.
You have our words, and you shall have our lives, to guard you safe from all ensuing danger.
Now, chop them up and away. Stay. When is't fit for me and safest for you to entertain this business?
Not till the evening.
Be it so. There is a chapel, stands hard by upon the west end of the abbey wall. Thither convey yourselves, and when the sun hath turned his back upon this upper world, I'll marry you. That done, no thundering voice can break the sacred bond. Yet, lady, here you are most safe.
Father, your love's most dear.
Aye, well said. Lock us into some little room by ourselves and we'll be mad for an hour or two.
Oh, good Matheo. No, let's make no noise.
How? No noise? Do you know where you are? It's afoot amongst all the madcaps in Milan, and so that to throw the house out of the window will be the better. And no man will suspect that we lurk here to steal mutton. The more sober we are, the more scurvy 'tis. And though the friar tells us that we are the safest, I am not out of his mind, for if those that lay here had lost their money, none would ever look after them. But here are none, but those that have lost their wits. So, if that the hue and cry be made, hither they'll come together. It is my reason, because none goes to be married till he be stark mad.
Off with yourselves, yonder's Fluello.
Zounds!
Yes, indeed, Fluello has entered it. Fluello has entered it.
Oh, my lord, these cloaks are not for this rain. The tempest is too great. I come sweating to tell you of it, that you may get out of it.
Why, what's the matter?
What's the matter? You've mattered it fair. The Duke's at hand.
Oh, Duke!
Duke!
The very Duke.
Then all our plots are turned upon their heads, and we're blown up with our own underminings. How comes he? What villain durst betray our being here?
Castruchio! Castruchio told the Duke, and Matheo here told Castruchio.
Would you betray me to Castruchio?
But he damned himself to the pit of hell. If he spake on't again.
So did you swear to me. So were you damned.
Pox on 'em! And there'll be no faith in men if a man shall not believe oaths. He took bread and salt by this light, that he would never open his lips.
Oh God, oh God.
Be not desperate. Have patience. You shall trip your enemy down by his own sleights. How far is the Duke hence?
He's with you set out. Castruchio, Pioratto, and Sinezi come along with him. You have time enough to prevent them, if you have but courage.
We shall steal secretly into the chapel and presently be married. If the Duke abide here still, spite of 10,000 eyes, you shall escape hence like friars.
Oh, blessed disguise, oh happy man.
Talk not of happiness till you're close at hand. Have her by the forehead, like the lock of time. Be not too slow nor hasty. Now you climb up to the Tower of Bliss, only be wary and patient, that is all. If you like my plot, build and dispatch. If not, farewell, then not.
Oh, yes, we do applaud it. We'll dispute no longer, but we'll hence and execute. Fluello, you'll stay here. Let us be gone. The ground that frighted lovers tread upon is stuck with thorns.
Come, then away. 'Tis meet to scape those thorns, to put on winged feet.
And exeunt Anselmo, Hippolito, and Infelice.
No words, I pray, Fluello, for it stands upon us.
Oh, sir, let that be your lesson.
Exit Matheo.
As poor lovers, on what hopes and fears must men toss themselves for women, when she's got the best has in her that which pleaseth not.
And enter the Duke, Castruchio, Pioratto, Sinezi, from different doors muffled.
Who's there?
My lord.
Send that lord away. My lordship will spoil all. Let's be all fellows. What's he?
Fluello, or else Sinezi by his little legs.
All friends, all
All
friends.
friends.
All friends,
all
all
friends.
What? Met upon the very point of time? Is this the place?
This is the place, my lord.
Dream you on lordships? Come no more, lords, I pray. You have not seen these lovers yet.
Not yet.
Castruchio, art thou sure this wedding feast is not till afternoon?
So it's given out, my lord.
Nay, 'tis like feeds must observe their hours. Would lovers watch minutes like astronomers? How shall the interim hours be be bias spent.
Let's all go see the Madman.
Mass
Content.
Consent.
Indeed. Okay, we'll just pause there for a second. I mean, there's a, you know what happens when you're on a long, say you're on a road trip and you're going, well, where should we stop? What should we do? Well, I want to stretch my legs. I need to go to the loo. Let's go see the Madman. Because I suppose if you are in this particular institution, that's a thing you do. So that's a perfectly reasonable request in this context. That's partly the way these institutions paid for themselves, of course, was by effectively selling tickets to do that. Aliki.
I'm really enjoying the butterflies here, the trio of idiots. Now remember, we're all friends here. Nobody's anybody's lord. Yes, my lord, we remember.
Yeah. It really is that sort of, that again, this group just function as a unit of idiots, really, and in this context, they're all there with the headman, and so any fear or danger we feel about the Duke is sort of diminished here as they sort of come up in disguise, and of course we know that the others are now going to dress up as friars, so we can see where this is sort of all the shtick of this scene is going in many ways, so we can. It's doing a lot of again really quite fun things. We've got Friar Ex Machina doing his bit, setting up the plots. Matteo's not necessarily in a great place. It's engaging me in a way that I haven't felt for quite a while. Eric.
What I was going to say is that aside from the fact that they're sharing one brain cell, Infelice says nothing to being like she gets no words. Come on, like I object or something, or I'm happy or whatever. Yeah,
I suspect there is a very pragmatic reason for why she is basically a figure that appears, and I mean even in the scene 3 when she actually featured, she didn't say a lot. So I'm assuming that this is an apprentice part. And that's the reason why it's not a character that really does anything. It's a character to be there and get someone on stage who's probably relatively young, and they don't trust with words yet, or many words. That is my rationalization. It may not be true, but it is a structural reason why that might be happening. Because say she has barely featured in the play except as a plot device. Okay, we're mid-scene. We're gonna see the Madman. Not problematic at all. Okay, enter a sweeper.
Oh, here comes one. Question him.
Fellow, does thou belong to the house?
Yes, forsooth, I am one of the implements. I sweep the madman's rooms and fetch straw for him, and buy chains to tie him and rods to whip him. I was a mad wag myself here once, but I thank Lord Father Anselmo, he lashed me into my right mind again.
Anselmo is the friar, must marry them. Question him where he is.
And where is Father Anselmo now?
Merry, he's gone, but he now.
No, well done. Tell me, whither is he gone?
Why, to God Almighty.
The fool talks idly.
Are all the bad folks in Milan brought hither?
Ow, there's a question indeed. Why, if all the mad folks in Milan should come hither, there would not be left 10 men in the city.
Gentlemen or courtiers? Ha!
Oh, yes, abundance. Lands no sooner fall into their hands, but straight they run out their wits. Citizens' sons and heirs are free of the house by their father's copy. Farmers' sons come hither like geese in flocks, and when they have sold all their cornfields, here they sit and pick the straws.
Methinks you should have women here as well as men.
Oh, aye, a plague on 'em. There's no hoe with them, they're madder than March hares.
Are there no lawyers amongst you?
Oh no, not one. Never any lawyer. We dare not let a lawyer come in, for he'll make 'em mad faster than we can recover 'em.
And how long is it ere you recover any of these?
Why, according to the quantity of the moon that's got into 'em. An alderman's son will be mad a great while, a very great while, especially if his friends left him well. A whore will hardly come to her wits again. A Puritan, there's no hope of him, unless he may pull down the steeple and hang himself in the bell ropes.
I perceive all sorts of fish come to your net.
Yes, in truth, we have blocks for all heads. We have a good store of wild oats here. For the courtier is a mad at the citizen is mad at the countryman, the shoemaker is mad at the cobbler at the carman, the punk is mad that the merchant's wife is no whore, the merchant's wife is mad that the punk is so common a whore. God so, here's Father Anselmo. Pray say nothing that I tell tales out of the school.
Okay, we're just going to pause here as the sweeper exits. Sweeper, stand up. Utterly cuttable in so many ways. You can see the gag they're playing at here of social commentary as the games they've got to put in there. And yeah, there's again, you've got the Duke's relationship with his men of going like, look, find out some information from him, and he sort of doesn't give them any useful information. He goes, okay, I'll do it then. Very good at this questioning, are you? Not one of my interrogators, are you? Aliki, then Donald.
So I noticed there the double use of mad as in insane, but it also seemed to be the American mad as in angry.
Yes, I think that there is a permeability to meaning that they're playing with, and things there. Donald.
I was getting a little bit of the person who digs graves in another well-known play with the sweeper.
No, we're not.
No, I didn't.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You know what you're doing. That's no. Don't make me cut things. Don't make me cut things. Okay.
I did wonder if it was the same person who played Hippolito's servant, because there was something of that.
Well, actually, yeah. You do wonder whether the clown is circulating through all the servants, don't you? Because it's like he's doing all the things. Eric.
I was thinking maybe it's the same person. Well, maybe the sweeper is the same actor as Roger, because Roger has the same sort of vibe. Like, oh yeah, I don't want to be doing this job, but please don't tell anybody. But yeah.
And the thing is, because and again, it's this question of how do you if you've got people playing lots and lots of roles, how do you differentiate them beyond basic costume changes? He's a sweeper. You give him a broom, therefore he's someone else, and you can see him using that prop and just leaning on it and just it immediately gives you a way to play that part. Content aside, I mean, I think within the logic of the structure, it sort of works very well, but it's also deeply problematic. So all sorts of questions about what you do with that. Anyway, so we just mark the sweeper. I don't think the sweeper might come back again, but I suspect it's a one-hit wonder, isn't he? So Anselmo's entered. Who's happy there to beat people into submission, so he's obviously a great guy. Enter Anselmo and servants. All together now.
Your father.
I thank you, gentlemen.
Pray, may we see some of these wretched souls that are here in your keeping?
Yes, you shall, but gentlemen, I must disarm you then. There are of madmen as there are of tame, all humoured not alike. We have here some so apish and fantastic, play with a feather, and though it would grieve us all to see God's image so blemished and defaced, yet do they act such antic and such pretty lunacies that, spite of sorrow, they will make you smile. Others again we have, like hungry lions, fierce as wild bulls, untamable as flies, and these have oftentimes from strangers' sides snatched rapiers suddenly and done much harm. whom if you'll see, you must be weaponless.
With all our hearts.
Said everyone.
Take these weapons in.
Exit servant with weapons.
Dear, stand off a little, pray, so it is well. I'll show you here a man that was sometimes a very grave and wealthy citizen, had served apprenticeship to this misfortune, been here 7 years, and dwelt in Bergamo.
How fell he from his wits?
By loss at sea. I'll stand aside, question him you alone, for if he spy me, he'll not speak a word unless he's thoroughly vexed.
Anselmo opens a door and retires. Enter first madman wrapped in a net.
Poor soul.
Very old man.
Good speed, father.
God speed the plough, thou shalt not speed me.
We see you, old man, for all you dance in a net.
True, but thou wilt dance in a halter, and I shall not see thee.
Do not vex him, pray.
Are you a fisherman, father?
No, I am neither fish nor flesh.
What do you do with that net, then?
Dost not see, fool? There's a fresh salmon in it. If you step one step further, you'll be over shoes. For you, I see I'm over head and ears in the salt water. And if you fall into this whirlpool where I am, you're drowned. You're a drowned rat. I'm fishing here for 5 ships. I cannot have a good draught. My net breaks still and breaks. I'll break some of your necks and I'll catch you in my clutches. Stay, 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 stay. Where's the wind? Where's the wind? Where's the wind? Where's the wind? Out, you gulls, you goose caps, you gudgeon eaters. You look for the wind in the heavens? No. Look there. Look there. Look there. The wind is always at the door. How? It blows. Puff. Do you laugh at God's creatures? Do you mock old age, you rogues? Is this grey beard and head counterfeit that you cry? Ha! Sirrah, art thou not my eldest son?
Yes, indeed, father.
Then thou art a fool. My eldest son had a polt foot, crooked legs, a virtue's face, and pear-coloured beard. I made him a scholar, and he made himself a fool. Sirrah, there, hold out thy hand.
My hand? Well, it is.
No, look. Has he not long nails and short hair?
Yes, monstrous short hair and abominable long nails.
Tenpenny nails, are they not?
Yes, tenpenny nails.
Such nails had my second son. Kneel down, thou varlet, and ask thy father's blessing. Such nails had my middlemost son, and I made him a promoter, and he scraped and scraped and scraped, till he got the devil and all. But he scraped thus and thus and thus and thus, and it went under his legs, length a company of kites, taking him for carrier, and swept all. If you love your lives, look to yourselves. See. The Turks' galleys are fighting with my ships. Bounce go the guns. Oh, hie the men. Rumble, go the waters. Alas, there, 'tis sunk. I'm undone. You are the damned pirate and undone me. You are. By the Lord, you are. Stop them, you are.
Why, sirrah? How now, sirrah? Must I fall to tame you?
Tame me? No, I'll be madder than a roasted cat. See, I'm burnt with gunpowder. These are your close fights.
I'll whip you if you grow unruly thus.
Whip me? Out your tone. Whip me? What justice is this to whip me because I'm a beggar? Alas, I'm a poor man, a very poor man. I'm starved and had no meat by this light ever since the great flood. I'm a poor man.
Well, be quiet, and you shall have meat.
Aye, pray do. For look you, here be my guts. These are my ribs. You may look through my ribs. See how my guts come out? These are my red guts, my very guts. Look.
Take him in there.
Servants remove first madman.
Very piteous sight.
Father, I see you have a busy charge.
They must be used like children, pleased with toys and unwhipped for their unruliness. I'll show you now a pair quite different from him that's gone. He was all words, and these, unless you urge them, seldom spend their speech, but save their tongues.
Opens another door from which enter second and third madman.
La, you, this hithermost fell from the happy quietness of mind about a maiden that he loved and died. He followed her to church, being full of tears, and as her body went into the ground, he fell stark mad. This is a married man was jealous of a fair, but as some say, a very virtuous wife, and that spoiled him.
Third Madman was muted, so we missed that.
Sorry, I'll do that again. All these are whoremongers and lay with my wife. Whore, 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 whore!
Serve him.
Gaffer shoemaker, you pulled on my wife's pumps and then crept into her pantofles. Lie there, lie there. This was her tailor. You cut out a loose body gown and you put in a yard more than I allowed her. Lie there by the shoemaker. Oh, master doctor, are you here? You gave me a purgation and then crept into my wife's chamber to feel her pulses, and you said, and she said, and her maid said that they all went pitter-pat, pitter-pat, pitter-pat. Doctor, I'll put you on in my wife's urinal. Hey, come aloft, Jack. This was her schoolmaster and taught her to play upon the virginals, and still his Jack slept. Up. You pricked her at nothing but bawdy lessons. But I'll prick you all, fiddler. Doctor, tailor, shoemaker, shoemaker, fiddler, doctor, tailor. So lie with my wife again now.
See how he notes the other, and now he feeds.
Give me some porridge.
I'll give thee none.
Give me some porridge.
I'll not give thee a bit.
Give me that flat dragon.
I'll not give thee a spoonful. Thou liest. It's no dragon, 'tis a parrot that I brought from my sweetheart, and I'll keep it.
Here's an almond for a parrot.
Hang thyself.
Here's a rope for a parrot.
Eat it, for I'll eat this.
I'll shoot at thee, and thou give me none.
What thou?
I'll ruin and tilt at thee, and thou give me none.
Wouldst thou? Do thou darest.
Bounce.
Strikes him.
Oh, I'm slain! Murder, murder, murder! I'm slain! My brains are beaten out!
How now, you villains? Bring me whips. I'll whip you.
I am dead! I am slain! Ring out the bell, for I am dead!
How will you do now, Sarah? You have killed him.
I'll answer to it, Sessions. He was eating of almond butter, and I longed for it. The child had never been delivered out of my belly if I had not killed him. I'll answer it, Sessions, so my wife be burnt in the hand too.
Take him in both. Bury him, for he's dead.
Indeed, I am dead. Put me, I pray, into a good pit hole.
I'll answer it at Sessions.
Servants remove second and third madman. Shall we just pause there and just
Oh.
go, ye gods and little fishes? That was I mean, the reassuring thing is it's entirely excisable and we can quietly pretend it never existed. I think there is an interesting... Again, if we're looking at this as a historical document and something to learn about the period and the time, there's something very interesting about the in-house audience response of, the first madman comes in and they're all going, ha ha ha, it's hilarious what these guys are up to. You know, that is clearly the audience response that is expected here, and that I don't think the play makes us is there to make us go, Anselmo whipping these people into submission is a bad thing. I'm not getting social critique here, which you sometimes there are elements of that in a say later play like The Changeling, which isn't, a lot of that is played for laughs, but there is also a bitter pill and questions going on in that text, which I think are playing in different directions. I'm not sure that's here. I really don't think that's it. I think Anselmo's this very responsible, most up to date in all his critical thinking as to how to deal with these really rather unfortunate people who fight a lot and are clearly not very happy. There's an interesting detail of they take all the weapons away from the Duke, etc., which on one level is very, very wise, not to have sharp implements away, but it also presumably serves a plot function so that later on they can't fight and do any violence later on.
I mean, I sort of thought Anselmo had done that on purpose.
Yeah. I'm assuming that is a deliberate move to make sure that nobody's got any weapons, as well as they're using the potential madman, as the text terms them, as a good, reasonable reason. Okay, shall we pretend that never happened and move on? Yes. okay, because I was really enjoying this session actually. Up until then, it was like I was sort of getting back into this play and sort of going, okay, maybe I'm finding angles now to do something potentially with this text, but it's quite long, so that's a good 1,000 words we can immediately cut. So that's good. Right. So they have left. Enter randomly Bellafront.
How, housewife? Whither gad you?
A nutting, forsooth. How do you, Gaffer? How do you, Gaffer? There's a French curtsy for you.
Front.
Here's the punk, by the Lord.
Father, what's she, I pray?
As yet I know not. She came in but this day. Talks little idly, and therefore has the freedom of the house.
Do you not know me? Nor you? Nor you? Nor you?
No,
Oh, indeed.
No, indeed.
Then you are an ass, and you an ass, and you are an ass. For I know you.
Why, what are they? Come, tell me, what are they?
They're fishwives. Will you buy any gudgeons? God Santy, yonder come friars, I know them too.
Enter Hippolito, Matheo, Infelice, disguised as friars.
How do you, friar?
Nay, away, you must not trouble, friars. The Duke is here. Speak nothing.
Nay, indeed, you shall not go. We'll run at barley break first, and you shall be in hell.
My punk turned mad whore, and all of her fellows are.
Say nothing, but steal hence when you spy time.
I'll lock you up if you're unruly. Fie.
Fie? Marry, so. They shall not go indeed till I have told them their fortunes.
Good father, give her leave.
Ay, pray, good father, and I'll give you my blessing.
Well, then, be brief. But if you're thus unruly, I'll have you locked up fast.
Come to their fortunes.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll begin with the little friar first. Oh, here's a fine hand indeed. I never saw friar have such a dainty hand. Here's a hand for a lady. Here's your fortune. You love a friar better than a nun, yet long you'll love no friar, nor no friar's son. Bow a little, the line of life is out, yet I am afraid, for all you're holy, you'll not die a maid. God give you joy. Now to you, Friar Tuck.
God send me good luck.
You love one, and one loves you. You're a false knave, and she's a Jew. Here is a dial that false ever goes.
Oh, your wit drops.
Truth. So does your nose. Nay, let's shake hands with you too. Pray open. Oh, here's a fine hand. Ho, friar. Ho, God be here. So he had need. You'll keep good cheer. Here's a free table, but a frozen breast. For you'll starve those that love you best. Yet you have good fortune, for, if I'm no liar, then you are no friar, nor you no friar.
And she discovers them.
Our holy habits, cloaks for villainy. Draw all your weapons.
Who? Draw all your weapons.
Where are your weapons? Draw!
The
Fire has
friar
gone
has
some
gone
of
some.
Out of them.
Rhetoric, you have learned one mad point of arithmetic.
Why swells your spleen so high? Against what bosom would you your weapons draw? Hers? 'Tis your daughter's. Mine? 'Tis your son's.
Son?
Son? By yonder sun?
You cannot shed blood here, but 'tis your own. To spill your own blood were damnation. Lay smooth that wrinkled brow, and I will throw myself beneath your feet. Let it be rugged still and flinted all. What can come forth but sparkles that will burn yourself and us? She's mine. My claim's most good. She's mine by marriage, though she's yours by blood.
I have a hand, dear lord, deep in this act, for I foresaw this storm, yet willingly put forth to meet it. Oft have I seen a father washing the wounds of his dear son in tears, a son to curse the sword that struck his father, both slain in the quarrel of your families. Those scars are now ta'en off, and I beseech you to seal our pardon. All was to this end, to turn the ancient hates of your two houses to fresh green friendship, that your loves might look like the spring's forehead, comfortably sweet, and your vexed souls in peaceful union meet. Their blood will now be yours, yours will be theirs, and happiness shall crown your silver hairs.
See, my lord, there's now no remedy.
Beseech your lordship.
You beseech fair. You have me in place fit to bridle me. Rise, friar, you may be glad you can make madmen tame and tame men mad. Since fate have conquered, I must rest content. To strive now would but add new punishment. I yield unto your happiness, be blessed. Our family shall henceforth breathe in rest.
Oh, happy change!
Oh, happy change!
Yours now is my content. I throw upon your joys my full consent.
Am not I a good girl for finding the friar in the well? God, so you are a brave man. Will you not buy me some sugar plums, because I am so good a fortune teller?
Would thou hadst wit, thou pretty soul, to ask, as I have will to give.
Pretty soul? A pretty soul is better than a pretty body. Do you not know my pretty soul? I know you. Is not your name Matheo?
Yes, lamb.
Bah, lamb. There you lie, for I am mutton. Look, fine man, he was mad for me once, and I was mad for him once, and he was mad for her once, and were you never mad? Yes, I warrant. I had a fine jewel once, a very fine jewel, and that naughty man stole it away from me. A very fine and a rich jewel.
What jewel, pretty maid?
Maid? Nay, that's a lie. Oh, 'twas a very rich jewel, called a maidenhead. And had not you it, Lyra?
Out, you mad ass, away!
Had he thy maidenhead, we shall make thee amends, and marry thee.
Shall he? Oh, brave Arthur of Bradley, then.
And if he bear the mind of a gentleman, I know he will.
I think I rifled her of some such paltry jewel.
Did you? Then marry her. You see the wrong has led her spirits into a lunacy.
Or marry her, my lords, but marry as a mad woman. Let a man get the tamest wife that he can come by. She'd be mad enough afterwards. Do what he can.
Nay, then, Friar for Anselmo, here shall he do his best to bring her to wits, and will you then?
I cannot tell. I may choose.
Nay, then, law shall compel. I tell you, sir, so much our hard fate moves me, you should not breathe unto this air unless you married her.
Well, then, when her wits stand in the right place, I'll marry her.
I thank your grace. Matheo, thou art mine. I am not mad, but put on this disguise only for you, my lord, for you can tell much wonder of me. But you are gone. Farewell. Matheo, thou didst first turn my soul black. Now make it white again. I do protest I'm as pure as fire now, chaste as Cynthia's breast.
I dare be sworn, Matheo, she's indeed.
Coney catched, gulled, must I sail in your fly boat because I helped you rear your main mast first? Plague, found you fought as well. The cuckold stamp goes current in all nations. Some men have horns given them their creation. If I be one of those, why so? 'Tis better to take a common wench than to make her good. then one that simpers at the first will scare, be tempted forth over the threshold door. Yet in one's senneth zounds turns arrant whore. Come, wench, thou shalt be mine, give me thy goals. We'll talk of legs hereafter. See, my lord, God give us joy.
God give you joy.
Joy!
Enter Viola and George.
Come, mistress, we're in Bedlam now. Mass and see. We come in pudding time, for here's the Duke.
My husband, good lord.
Have I thy husband?
It's Candido, my lord. He's here among the lunatics. Father Anselmo, pray fetch him forth.
Exit Anselmo.
This mad woman is his wife, and though she were not with child, did she long most spitefully to have her husband mad, and because she would be sure he should turn Jew, she placed him here in Bethlehem. Yonder, here he comes.
Enter Anselmo with Candido.
Come hither, signor. Are you mad?
You are not mad.
Why, I know that.
Then you may know that I am not mad. That no, you are not mad, and that you are the Duke. None is mad here but one. How do you, wife? What do you long for now? Pardon, my lord. She had lost a child's nose, else I did cut out pennyworths of lawn. The lawn was yet mine own. A carpet was my gown, yet 'twas mine own. I wore my man's coat, yet the cloth's mine own. Had a cracked crown, the crown was yet mine own. She says for this I'm mad. Were her words true, I should be mad indeed. Foolish skill is patience madness. I'll be a madman still.
Forgive me, and I'll vex your spirit no more.
Come, what have you, friends? Join hearts, join hands.
See, my lord, we are even. Nay, rise, for ill deeds kneel unto none but heaven.
Senor, methinks patience has laid on you such a heavy weight that you should loathe it.
Loathe it?
For he whose breast is tender, blood so cool that no wrongs heat it, it is a patient fool. What comfort do you find in being so calm?
That which green wounds receive from sovereign balm. Patience, my lord. Why, 'tis the soul of peace. Of all the virtues, 'tis nearest kin to heaven. It makes men look like gods, the best of men. That e'er wore earth about him was a sufferer, a soft, meek, patient, humble, tranquil spirit. The first true gentleman that ever breathed. The stock of patience then cannot be poor. All it desires, it has. What monarch more? 'Tis the greatest enemy to law that can be, for it doth embrace all wrongs, and so chains up lawyers and women's tongues. 'Tis the perpetual prisoner's liberty, his walks and orchards. 'Tis the bond slave's freedom, and makes him seem proud of each iron chain, as though he wore it more for state than pain. It is the beggar's music, and thus sings, although their bodies beg, their souls are kings. O my dread liege, it is the sap of bliss, rears us aloft, makes men and angels kiss. And last of all, to end a household strife, it is the honey against a waspish wife.
Thou giv'st it lively colours. Who dare say he's mad, whose words march in so good array? 'Twere sin all women should such husbands have, for every man must then be his wife's slave. Come, therefore, you shall teach our court to shine, so calm a spirit is worth a golden mine. Wives with meek husbands that have vexed them long, in Bedlam must they dwell, else dwell they wrong.
And they exit. Ba-da-ba-da-da-da.
Yes. Can't wait for the sequel.
Okay. So many things to unpack there. What do we start with? Shall we just start with what we've literally just this second done, which is the conclusion of the Candido plot, which I really liked, and then goes absolutely nowhere. I get him out, and they go, yeah, I'm going to say some stuff that's really not very good. And I'm fine now. Yeah. Woo! Went nowhere. Very disappointed. Plus, also the fact that we just keep getting peppered. Just when you've got this terrible sort of shit sandwich, they like to pepper a little bit more on, just random anti-Semitism, and we got the ableism, we got the misogyny. It's really just sort of just sprinkling all those nuggets of excrement all over. So that
The
plotline.
sermon too.
Yeah, you get a sermon from.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love a sermon.
We've had those right the way through, though, haven't we?
Yeah, he has done a little bit of sort of sermon. He hasn't done so much as other people have, shall we say?
But it's a trait in the play, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Dekker. It's Dekker. It's what he does. So the Infelice plot is sorted quite quickly, as really it's a fait accompli. There's not much that the Duke can do about that, apart from you can't kill them on the spot or anything. And of course they're discovered by Bellafront, who is pretending to be mad, so that she can marry Matheo, because that makes everything all right. That's all right then. Which I can entirely understand from an early modern perspective, that this is a structurally very clever little bit of business to move towards a conventional end and disguise how those conventional ends are going to be done. But yeah. No. Okay.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
Lost words.
Well, we have been here before.
The whole bit with the people disguised as friars and the people looking at the residents of the asylum is meant to be quite funny, and could be quite funny physically, as they grasp about for the swords that they gave away 10 minutes ago. But sorry. I'm trying to come up with something nice to say.
Yeah, this is the curse of the format, which is we're always trying to find the best face for a text. We're trying to find a route through, something you can do, even if you make massive cuts or changes. This really isn't giving us a lot of options. I mean, I think there is a route, there is a core to the Draper's plot, which is quite nice and quite could be done with it, but the conclusion is so pants. Because it's not really a conclusion. It's just like, we'll let you out now. Okay. I'm going to say some stuff at you. Woo! Sarah.
I just feel this is a good time to say I love this project that you're doing, Rob, where we're reading every single play, early modern play. And the thing is, it's very rare that I'm here for a reading of a play where there isn't something about it that I think, oh yeah, you could do something with that, or okay, this is a bit dodgy, but we could do something with that, or if you look at it from this angle, it's quite interesting, or we could use this as an educational piece, or blah blah blah. So I just want to say that it's very, very rare that there's a play that I just find irredeemably awful. And so the fact that this is it, I mean, that's not to say that there aren't some moments in it that I did really enjoy. Like you were saying earlier, some of the servant speeches are excellent. But I just want to say, relative to all the other plays that we've read, it's rare that we get one that's this unpromising. So I just want to put it in perspective there.
Yes, and also we have had a run of relatively good luck of late. I mean, the last few months we have had some genuinely quite delightful plays with lots of things. And it used to be a case of we all dreaded doing a comedy because comedies always turned out to be awful. And actually, we had a little run of comedies where we went, okay, we're really going with this. There's some really good comedy here. And it may be just simply we've gone back to the 1600s because there's something in the historical moment of around 1600 that I don't know if it's the Queen dies and all the misogynists come out with James and just go, hey, let's have a party. But there is something in this historical moment that seems to be unbelievably toxic. and really, really hard to deal with. And it may be lots of factors rather than just that. I'll go back to Sarah then Eric.
I take your point. There's no doubt about it. We've been a bit spoiled recently with the comedies from later on, and now we've gone back. But all the misogyny in this play, that's kind of like you might expect it for a play from this era. And you're right, it does seem to get like really, really misogynistic around this time, just after Elizabeth died, which I think is like a really amazing perspective actually, and I don't know, there might be something in that. And if it was just that, I still wouldn't like this play. But then I don't like a lot of comedies. But the thing that has made me really hate it was that bit at the end with the Madman, because that is meant to be funny from an early modern perspective. That is meant to be funny, and it's just so horrifying, and it's actually quite well written, I think, almost as speeches from mad people, you know. But the fact that it was written to be funny and that audiences of this time found it funny. I mean, yes, I know it was the early modern period and, you know, humans were different then, but were they really that different? I mean, I don't know. I just found it totally appalling. And even by the standards of the day, I don't see how someone wouldn't find that appalling. Or at least some people wouldn't find it appalling. So that's the thing for me. Yes, it's misogynistic. There was a lot of anti-Semitism creeping in at the end there as well, but it's like that was the thing for me that just tipped me over the edge, and I'm like, no.
Yes, it's interesting. It's not just that we hate the play; we kind of hate the audience for the play, and that's actually a really interesting fact. I'll briefly go to Donald before I go to Eric.
It was popular enough to write a sequel as well. Which
this is clearly a successful play. I mean, that's the thing, is that this business, and maybe it got longer, maybe because some of that Madman stuff feels like maybe they added a few extras in just to make it a bit longer because it was going down so well. It's not unusual to add business. Well, this is about the time they're writing more Hieronymo, that they're selling the Spanish tragedy as Hieronymo is mad again. So this is a thing. Anyway, I'll go to Donald before I go to Eric.
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, clearly a lot of this stuff got recycled in The Changeling years later. And there were definite nods back to Hieronymo, very specific. And the thing, I mean, I was reading the first Madman, and the thing that occurred to me was that whoever wrote it enjoyed the writing. They were absolutely having a ball. You could imagine them really enjoying the writing of that, which makes it even more disturbing.
Well, I mean, not trying to, tar the past with too much. We are more than capable of enjoying writing horrible things today. And speaking as a writer, in my youth, and certainly even now, I might not release it, but it's very easy to sit down and write something really horrible in that vein. Because you're tapping into something that has an effect. You're going, this is an effective. Look, this is going to get this response out of an audience or that response, and you can do. That's why writers are sociopaths, because we really like killing people and harming and making everyone's life misery. All drama, even comedy, is basically about taking some people that you actually on some level like and then doing horrible things to them. And at least in comedy, they come out the other side and get a happy ending. But in tragedy, you're just slaughtering them and enjoying doing it. So maybe that part is that evil part is amidst all of us today. Okay, Eric, then Alan.
What I was going to say is A, I'm glad it's over, and B, how on earth is this the same person who wrote The Shoemaker's Holiday? It doesn't feel like the same person, definitely. I mean, yes, I think it's Jane in that play who is very sort of chaste and sort of loyal to her husband who goes to war or whatever. But I mean, this is a very different type of comedy.
I think you can see it in the linen drapers, the drapers plot. I think you can see the connection with Shoemaker's Holiday and those logics. But also you can still see the problem of that plot and that the drapers plot here as well. Candido's plot line is not resolved through character progression. His wife remains basically a two-dimensional figure, and he remains to a large degree, a two-dimensional figure. Now, you can get a lot of comedy out of that situation, and maybe you can condense all that down and turn that into a thing, but it's such a poor resolution for him that maybe we have to go to part 2 to do something with that. Though I have been reliably informed that his plotline in part 2 is very, very bad. So, I'm not saying that for definite. That's just off the rumour mill. I haven't read it. Or if I have, it has been so long ago, I have actually forgotten it. Let's go back through my notes to see what I thought of this play the first time round. I'm always unimpressed with my earlier notes. Anyway, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the kindest thing to do with this is burial at sea, so nobody could dance on its grave. I was wondering over the last couple of days whether it was salvageable by excising the Duke, Infelice, Hippolito, the 3 butterflies as we're describing them, and just doing the city comedy, the London part of the plot. But it resolves so poorly, or fails to resolve, that I think even that's a lost hope.
Well, okay,
without an awful lot of intervention.
Yeah, well, okay. It's a long play. We before we even start, we have to cut about 6,000 words. So, let's engage with this. Let's actually engage with this question for a little bit. What can you bring out of this? Well, I think actually the Duke plotline's fine. Weirdly. The plotline of, gaslighting daughter, all of that stuff is resolved kind of conventionally. It's ridiculously melodramatic and over the top. Most of those scenes I rather enjoyed. There just wasn't very much of it. A lot of the plotline with the Draper is kind of fine. It's resolved quite badly, but it's sort of structurally fine. The primary title that this play is known by, the Honest Whore plot, is awful. And probably has to be killed with death. I really can't see a post-rationalizing of it and trying to... apart from her function in the very final scene, because I do wonder if that is redeemable on some level of this lie that's going on, and the way they are discovered, that there is something that could be done with that's not quite so terrible. So there are components here, but then I'm almost getting back to a point we've mentioned earlier in the year. This question of piecemeal plots from different plays and constructing a new play out of it. So that we're not even saying we need to connect the Duke plot with the other plots in this play. Is there another play where those bits would be really useful? Or could make an interesting other play? I'm starting to get this question about portmanteau cut and shunt plays, because I'm seeing there's material here that could do that function, and I'm now just sort of wishing I'd done better spreadsheets to deal with these materials 4 years ago. If I'd started doing that, had that thought 4 years ago, I could be in a position to say now, oh yeah, we could connect it with this plot line from this play over here that's the B plot's a disaster for. Because, yeah, there are options, possibly. Sarah than Aliki.
Yes, I think cut and shunt would be the only way I'd want to do anything with this play, because you're right, that denouement with Bellafront, the way she told everyone's fortunes and then unmasked them, that was just that little section quite fun. But then it was the fact that Matheo was so awful. And if you'd have to absolutely razor his speeches to kind of make that palatable. And if you did that, there would hardly be anything left. So I think, you could maybe cut that section and also cut her from the beginning as well, because when she first appears, she's quite good fun. And use that. You could maybe drop the Duke plot into something else, but there's just not enough of it. I really don't think
it's very slight, isn't it? It's very slight.
This is the thing. There's not enough of anything really. If you cut the, I think with the Bellafront plot, there's not it's more the other way. You have to cut out the good bits and save them, rather than, because by the time you've cut out all the bad bits, there's nothing left. Literally, you've just got a charred bit of stick in the middle of the bush that it once was. The Duke's plot, if you cut that off, it's literally just like a cutting, and there's nothing really. You can't beef that out into a full length plot. You could completely shave off the Candido plot. You could. There's a whole play there, I think. But would you actually want to?
No. We're not here for the want. This is an exercise in what you can do with this material.
Okay, well then you could cut all that off, and you could have that as a standalone play about this dude. But it really goes nowhere because, like you said, there's no dramatic arc to it, really. You could maybe put some dramatic arc into it just through your characterization, and if you worked really hard with your actors, you could get some sort of journey going through that. But actually, even though I'm saying, there's enough there to actually have a whole play, if you then cut out all the appalling stuff in the in Bedlam, that might be getting a bit thin as well, actually. So I do think actually cutting out the good bits and putting them on a shelf for another play that you need to tidy up in some way or edit in some way might be the best you can do with that, because it's just that there are certain speeches that are quite good, but overall I can't see it being staged today, honestly.
Well, it's really interesting because Donald brought this up, and I haven't really looked into it. There was a version produced 25 odd years ago, which was a conflation of the two parts. Now, it may be that the second part will give us some clues as to things you could do there. But it's a really interesting question. Now we finish this part, I'm going, what did that look like? I really, I'm tempted to, book a visit to their archives and see what the hell they did, because I'm really genuinely curious now. Because I don't think they printed there may be a published version of that text, but I don't think there was. I think we should go to Aliki's earlier idea of let's just do a play about all the servants.
Much better.
And there is no plot. It's just the servants, and there's this plot happening over there, and the servants are just going, "Oh, what's he doing now? Oh yeah, no, he's doing this now. I've been suborned to do that." We could use lots of different plays for that as well, actually, to beef it up. Of a street full of... This is the tavern all the servants go to, and they go, "Oh my God, what my master's up to now." Leaky.
Well, you've made it better than my original suggestion. And it made me think of Joe Baker's rather wonderful novel Longbourn, in which all of the servants in Pride and Prejudice are the actual characters, and every now and then they go, "Oh yeah, herself's going visiting again, get out the carriage." But what I was going to say before is there are several plays. We did one quite recently, Henry III, was it? In which a king comes out of nowhere, or a duke comes out of nowhere in the final scene and goes, "I'm going to solve all the plots now." So you could use the duke plot and Hippolito and Infelice, but one of those.
I mean, yeah. And it's interesting that this is maybe this whole play is sitting in the back of Middleton's mind for 20 years, and that's part of the inspiration for the Changeling, and that's why I think it's quite important to have done this. Actually, is if nothing else, is looking at daisy chaining and things that those things dance around. Eric, then Donald. I'm approaching closing this because I feel I want to close it relatively early.
I think actually the bits that I would say were definitely the sort of when we are first introduced to Bellafront and Roger, just that interaction where she's like powdering her face and sort of trying to get the colors right and all that. This was very sort of human, whereas later on she just becomes like something for Hippolito to sling mud at.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, hard agree. I mean, I really did love that first scene when she
Yeah.
first appeared, and some of those opening scenes were really nice, just for the detail, and they felt human. I think that's the point. Is somewhere along the line we lost the humanity to any of these characters. They just became ciphers.
Yeah.
Yeah, carry on, Eric, and then yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say something else, but then I forgot because I got interested in the humanity of it, and now I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, the humanity, Donald, and then
I
Sarah.
was just going to. Well, I was going to say somebody must have had a commonplace book, because there were some absolutely specific lines that crop up later in the changeling. I think about barley bread, hell, and so on. Somebody was scribbling those down, so I'll use those at some point in the future. I mean, I think in terms of the individual scenes, the Hippolito stuff that Greg was reading yesterday, if somebody was looking for an over-the-top audition piece, that might be a good start. And like you say, some of those, if you took the servant scenes, I suppose the only way you could stage it would be to have an evening of all the stuff from early modern drama that we can't put into the play. We'll just do some individual scenes, the stuff with George and the servants yesterday. But other than that, yeah.
It's interesting you bring up commonplace books. There are lots of lines from this that turn up in people's commonplace books, and actually it has a very, very good sort of publication history throughout. This is a very popular play in all sorts of different aspects, and I'm quite curious to see what lines people picked out actually, and see actually what was going on there, because it may be that people's memory of the play increasingly just became a series of quotes that would be quite useful data to have further down the line for us. Sarah, and then I'm going to close this session.
Yeah, just coming back to the humanity issue. To be fair to the play, I think that is the one thing that you could do. I mean, I said this already, but I think with the Draper's plot, I think you could, if you worked with your actors, you could find a way to keep the humanity in those characters, and it might not be there in the dialogue on the surface, but if you kind of played around and found ways to play it, I think there are probably ways that you could add layers to Viola, and you could probably add layers to Candido, but you'd have to work really hard to do it. You'd have to spend a lot of time delving into the psychology and finding ways to add things, because it's not there in the text.
Or you go the other way and you go full commedia with it and just go, and just let's hit each other with brooms.
To the point where you even put them in masks with, comedian masks. Yeah, you could totally do that. But I think, to be fair, you could get more humanity into it, but the play is not helping you to do that. That's something that a really clever director would have to I was going to say bring out of the lines. It's not even bringing it out of the lines. I think you'd have to impose it upon the lines. You'd have to come up with a very specific vision for who these people were and the reality of their lives, and kind of layer that on over the top. And I think you could do that. But again, and I know you're not interested in this, but from my personal perspective, speaking with my director's head on it, it's like, why would I want to do that? I wouldn't. So
someone out there may.
Someone might, though, yes.
Let's not discourage someone out from saying, I've got a thing I can do.
You could do it. You could make it work. I can think of ways in my head that you could make it work. So
and if you do, get in touch and let us know, because we're very, very curious on that level. However, we're also quite tired. So next time we'll do something. Next time we'll do something cheerful. We'll do a tragedy. All that remains is to thank all the wonderful readers for all the wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. I am one of the implements.